Rahaba, Tohoda Rahaba, my heart is thankful to you, Abba. Tohoda Rahaba, Tohoda Rahaba, my heart is thankful to you.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to Israel, my delight. I had a good day today. It was a fun day. Got a lot of work accomplished. And when you get work accomplished around the house, doing things, fixing up things, making things a little bit better, I tell you, we've been having some real brutal Arctic cold type weather here in New England in the Boston area, and for some reason, our heat wasn't really heating. I mean, it was working. The furnace was going. Everything was going. So I had to take today and kind of figure out what was going on. So I did a couple of things, cleaned a few things, and so far tonight, it is warm. And it's cold outside. I mean, it's cold. It's like not as well. No, it's probably about as cold as it was last night because it was about 18 degrees out right now. So that's cold. But I feel the heat, and it went on. I mean, it was on all the time, but it just wasn't heating. And now it's heating. So I'm excited. The Father blessed us with the solution. We implemented it and executed it, and hallelujah. We are warm and toasty, and kind of feels like, when we were kids, you remember those little flannel pajamas?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of feel like, without flannel pajamas, but I just feel that kind of warm and cozy and
did a great job.
And all that kind of stuff.
You
So
did a great job.
so and I have to say, even though it was mostly my idea of how to fix it, I did look at some YouTube videos, because that's a good source. That's a good tool when you have an issue and you need to replace something, or something's broken, and how to fix it and all that kind of stuff. And you just kind of put that into the search of Google, and it comes up with a lot of good videos. So a lot of times, sometimes not, but most of the time, yes. So that was excellent. Wanted to start off tonight, which was an interesting thing, because I don't know if anyone's up in the news and whatnot, and we like to know what's going on. We like to see what's happening, specifically with Israel and that region and all that kind of stuff. Iran. There's a lot of news on that, but there's also been a lot of domestic news about the United States, President Trump wanting to secure Greenland. I just love this, because this always amazes me, because even me, when things happen, and I'm like, why is it such a push and to threaten other nations, which are so-called, and I'll use that term loosely, friendly nations? Why push against them? There are allies, right? The NATO alliance, and all this kind of stuff, and the nations of democracy and freedom and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you look at Canada, not so free. You look at Great Britain, not so free. You look at France, not so free. Look at Germany, not so good anymore. The only one that's actually flourishing, which I thought was interesting, was Italy. Italy is the only one that I saw that was kind of flourishing, and then you get the other small ones like the Denmarks and the Norways and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was 2 days ago that because the so-called European Union and the other states that are around that really pushed back against President Trump with the Greenland situation. And again, I don't even know exactly what it's all about, but I know it's a security thing in that northern corridor. And if you look at a map, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I wish I probably put one up here for you, but I don't have it. But it's interesting because, Greenland is like this huge piece of ice. I mean, it's really just this big country. I think it's like I don't know if it's a third or half of the United States in terms of land mass, that kind of thing. But Denmark is the one that controls it, and the Greenlanders, don't have much of a say really. But there's a lot of Dutch people, Danish people over there that have made that their home, and so Greenlanders are really kind of a minority. The ones that are actual native Greenlanders are actually a small minority, and they're the ones that. What I heard is that they want to do something with the United States. It's the Danish that do not, and they're the ones that are out there protesting. You probably saw the protests, but they don't say that this is people from Denmark that are really doing this, that have relocated to Greenland. They'll just say that the Greenlanders are protesting. Well, that wasn't really. That was a mistruth. Is that what you call it? A mistruth?
You can call it that.
They just weren't telling you the real truth. Now, whether that matters or not, that's not here nor there right now. But I just loved it. So, the world reacted to it with the tariffs, 10% on every single country that's not supporting the United States in this, and then on June 1st, 25% more. It would rise up to 25% more, and this is even including in above and beyond some of the treaties that were made already. The Great Britain has made a treaty with a trade agreement with the United States. Canada, not so much. A little bit. EU has. I think Germany might have. Japan obviously has, and South Korea and other places. So the ones that were against this, it would be an additional 10%. So I was like, wow, that's kind of bold. That is kind of bold. And I don't know why is he doing that? I'll tell you one thing and I don't want to make this a political thing, but I am so glad that the Father in heaven put President Trump back in office. Now he's going 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, that's just his, and he's going even. He was going fast in the first term, but now he's going even faster. And maybe that he looks at it because he had 4 years of a really horrible situation here in America. And a lot of things were just kind of weakened and all that kind of stuff. And our economic status, fell in the world.
There was a lot of corruption.
A lot of corruption
in his first administration.
Yeah. But he was trying to weed through all that. But even that in the first administration, he went, and the economy went gangbusters.
Yeah, he did great, but he was up against so much.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the last 4 years. With the Biden administration.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So President Trump was in the first term.
You're right.
Then however you look at the last 4 years, whether he won or whether he did not win, but you had Biden in there, and the open border, having anywhere from 10 to 20 million illegals, a lot of them criminals. They're all criminals in the sense of they broke the law. If you step into the United States without permission, you broke the law. The immigration law is that you broke the law. Now you may not have been a criminal in your country, or you were just there to. You wanted a better life and all that kind of stuff, and that's understandable. But there's a way of getting into the United States of America legally. We know a couple. The wife anyway. And her husband, actually from Mexico, originally. They're here in the United States with green cards and all that. And probably about 4 months ago or something like that. 4 or 5 months ago, because she's a waitress at a restaurant we go to, and she mentioned that they were going for U.S. citizenship. And that is awesome. That is exciting. And we were so excited now because we wanted her to become an American citizen. We've developed a relationship over the last about a year or so, maybe, because we go there, once a month or whatever, but, something like that, whatever it was. And we always asked for her and all that. And so we developed a relationship, and then we could sense what her heart was. And when she said that she and her husband were going to be going to take the test for becoming American citizens, we were excited about it. We were excited about it because that's what we want. We want people that want to be here. She wants to be here. She wants to be an American, a citizen of the United States of America. And that is now what her identity is. And we're going to get into that. You like that segue? That was pretty good. Huh?
Very good.
That was pretty good. And we're going to get into that. And so, we'll probably stop it there for now, just because I do want to read something regarding, again, the identity of America and the status that it has in the world, in the nations, in making correct decisions in a lot of ways. So we have President Trump with this Greenland thing, and so when he mentioned the tariffs, the market went crazy, the world went crazy again, and that was not yesterday, but I think it was the day before, and then the markets went crazy yesterday, and then he was in what's that place called? Davos. Davos, Switzerland, what they always used to say, don't be Switzerland, because Switzerland is supposedly neutral, right? During World War II, Switzerland was neutral. We're not for that side, we're not for that side. Don't want to be neutral. That's like what Yeshua said. I'd rather see you cold or hot than lukewarm. Don't be lukewarm. Be either hot or cold, preferably hot, but be one or the other and make a decision. Don't be a fence sitter.
Exactly.
I like that. All right. So anyway, so he was at Davos. If you didn't hear President Trump's speech at Davos, you got to listen to it. It's about it's almost 2 hours, so it's a little long, but the guy is amazing. I mean, the guy hardly sleeps, and he is so sharp.
Yes, he is.
In his thinking, and he knows his facts. He knows the things that are going on. He arrived there about 3 hours late, basically, later than he was going to be there, but he was only 20 or 30 minutes late for the speech. So he was going to be there, prior to the speech, get acclimated, blah, blah, blah. But he got there, he landed because the Air Force One had an electrical issue, was started to go, and then had to turn around and come back to the airport and switch over to Air Force One. There's a couple. I don't even know how many Air Force Ones there are, planes. And then anytime the president is in the plane, it's called Air Force One. So it was like a 3-hour delay, and then he's shooting over there, and then he gets there, and about a half hour later, he's speaking in front of Davos, and he had a great speech. And then right after the speech, he had a question and answer with a guy, with actually basically the head of the what you call that thing now? Oh my goodness, the economic, whatever it's called. A bunch of rich people getting together, talking about how to make a one world government. Which the United States is definitely not for. But so he did give a great speech, and then he had a meeting quickly with that. I mean, on the stage. So he's like, it was 2 hours. giving a speech, and then about a half hour giving, had this guy asking President Trump questions, and then leaving, and then there's a bunch of other things that happen. But anyway, so this is what the update was with the Denmark Greenland thing, because Denmark stated that they will not talk to President Trump about it, and then a reporter asked him that, and he said they didn't say anything to me, and so I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to if they, I'll hear what they have to say, type of thing, and so it was great. So he had meetings all day, and then this is a Truth Social that just came out at about 4:00 our time. I think it was like 4:00. Yeah, 4:00 our time, Eastern time. It says, based on a very productive meeting that I had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland. And in fact, the entire Arctic region. This solution is, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations. Based on this discussions, discussions are being held concerning the Golden Dome. That's the giant dome that will protect the United States, specifically the East Coast, and the rest, and some of the other vital places on the West Coast and whatnot, for any ballistic missiles or nuclear missiles or whatever might be fired at us. So the Golden Dome as it pertains to Greenland. Now that's why President Trump wants Greenland, because of the security that it can afford us, and we're closer to Russia and China and things like that. So, and then it says, so based on this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Additional discussions are being held concerning the Golden Dome as it pertains to Greenland. Further information will be made available as discussions progress. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and various others as needed will be responsible for the negotiations. They will report directly to me. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this was a Truth Social thing. Whatever you think about President Trump, guy's a genius. I'm just telling you, he's a genius. And the other thing that's happening is what is going on with this Gaza peace plan. I mean, I was very skeptical of it, cautiously maybe skeptical, hoping that something would happen. But it's interesting, we see, this peace plan, this 20-point peace plan, but who is the hindrance really to this peace plan? Hamas. They're the ones that's supposed to disarm, and they're not. So President Trump has a peace committee, a peace group, whatever you call it, the Gaza peace group, peace, whatever it is, committee, that will take responsibility for going through the process and getting these things and getting Gaza to do this, and the people that are involved in this have to give an ante, if you will, or whatever they call it, $1 billion each. So there's like 60 people on this, from different countries. And the interesting things that are coming up is he asked Putin of Russia to be on this. It's like, why Putin of Russia? And I think he even asked Xi of China to be on. I'm not sure about that one, but you have so many different aspects. You got Turkey, you got Kovos. I can't remember. I think that's the name. They just accepted today, and so you get this mixed package. Why? And I don't know what's going to happen with this, but it's interesting to see what it will happen with this, and will this be a success? But really, in truth, if they can't control Hamas, then it's going to fail. It may fail anyway, but if they control and disarm Hamas, get the terrorists out of there, then it may work. Because you get things happening all over the world today. I mean, those so-called Palestinians in Gaza have been rioting. There's the Iranians in Iran are rioting. You got all this discord here in America. It was interesting too, because in Davos, all these climate people, or whatever you call them, the distractors, the detractors, the professional protesters, they came in front of the U.S. House. They call it the USA House. And what were they protesting? They were protesting President Trump as a warmonger. I mean, did they get the memo? Where he solved or helped solve 8 different wars, and some of them pretty substantial.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the one of the biggest ones, if it holds, is the Gaza-Israel issue. The only one he hasn't done yet is Ukraine-Russia, because they're a bunch of idiots over there. Just why Putin is doing this, I'll never know. Why Ukraine is continuing to do this, and if that's true, where there's 25,000 or so people on both sides, the total numbers a month being killed, mostly soldiers and some civilians. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that just does not make any sense to me. So, but anyway, so so I just think that is interesting, and everything went extremely in the positive today because of what's been taking place in Davos, and again, the strength of a president of the United States, talking about America first, America's strength, America is back, an economic power, a military power, all these things. Those are good things for America. Those are good things for the world, because England and Canada and France and Germany and other countries are going downhill because of the decisions they've made, the immigration that they've allowed in, the Islamic millions and millions of Islamic people, where they are not assimilating, they are just taking over towns. It's happening here, even in America, where in Texas there are obviously you see the Somalia group in Minneapolis, you see other Islamic people with mosques and all that kind of stuff, building like 200 mosques, whatever it is, near Dallas, I think it is. I think it's near Dallas, Texas. That can't happen, because then they don't want to be Americans. They want to take over the countries that they are in. I mean, you've seen that. You've seen that with many people. And they have it on film, that they say, let's go in and we take over the towns in essence. I'm paraphrasing, but but go for all the political groups and the mayors and everything. I mean, this last election that just took place in I think it was November. 42 Islamic, I think it was mayors, were up for election. First time up for election. You saw obviously Mandani in New York, and you saw this other guy in Minneapolis who didn't win, but he just, but that other mayor that was incumbent is basically a Somali in everything he does. But 38 of them won the election. 38. So are they trying to destroy this country from within? What are your thoughts?
Well, I just think there's some tactics that are going on. It's called, the people that you're talking about that are coming against what President Trump is doing, just have a a demonic, divisive plan. And President Trump is really he's a man that has such a vision, and he really loves America, and he also he loves being part of gathering people together in other countries also. And so to me it's quite it's a divine situation that's taking place, because he is trying to gather people together to make the right choices. Number one, to make America great, absolutely, to make America great, but also he sees the need that to rescue the people that are trying to destroy other countries and destroy America. President Trump has a vision, and there's a lot of people that do not have vision. They do not have a vision. Or the only vision they have is selfish. And it's interesting. Human nature has a way of I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been in situations where you go with a great plan. You have a great idea, and you have a great plan, and for some reason, there's people that are part of that plan, or could be part of that plan, but they don't see the vision. They don't see. They're so selfish and so determined to bring deception and evil plans to the plate, that they just will not yield to good wisdom. And President Trump has a lot of wisdom. He has a vision. That's one thing that is needed as a leader of the United States of America, is a man or a woman of vision, and that has great expectation. That's something that I don't know why people do not yield to the great expectation of the United States of America. And why do people, I know another thing that happens too, that, their ego is their amigo. And President Trump, he doesn't have that, a lot of people may think he has a great ego, but he's a visionary. He's always been a visionary. I mean, I've watched him for years before he even entered the thought of becoming a president. I have watched him for years, and I've told people he's going to be the next president. He needs to be the next president, because he has such great ideas, because he was part of New York, and he built New York. Actually, he built much of New York, and he just has vision, and he wants to see things. And I think he got it from his father, and also probably from his mother too. But it just shows me that we need people that have faith and have vision, and that's President Trump. Faith and vision. But I think it's very interesting, all the information that you gathered. And I remember that you and I talked before we got on the air, and I was trying to remember exactly what you were going to bring to the plate. It's something different that you actually brought to the plate, because this surfaced, right?
Yes.
Before we discussed this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because I'm sitting here saying,
talk about that?
I'm saying, well, I was sitting here and I'm saying, That isn't what we discussed before we came on the air, but I'm okay with that because I think it's exciting that President Trump has definitely, I believe, because of his consistency and because of his reputation. He has a reputation of being a very successful businessman.
Right.
And he also has a reputation of, he has a heart. And he does not like to see lives destroyed. He does not like to see lives destroyed. And he likes to be a man of preserving life as opposed to destroying life. That's what he always says. Even when Putin and what's the other guy's name? Zelensky. Because of what took place with all the deaths that took place, that broke President Trump's heart. He says, "I hate to see the death. Thousands of people are dying. Thousands of people are dying." And he says, I want life. I don't want to see all this death. There should not be all this. Now, when he actually okayed the bombing of various boats that were bringing drugs into countries that were destroying lives, he said, "We can't. We're not going to let anybody destroy any life." And so he got rid of those who were. So it's an interesting balance that takes place, preserving life by doing what he's doing as far as Greenland and build and so many things.
Even the boats, as you mentioned.
But I'm talking about the contrast between preserving life through the boats, but also preserving life by having people that are opening up the concept of there are foods that the human race in United States of America should be eating that were denied for years. So we have all these people that are trying to bring health back to the United States of America by eating good, healthy foods, whole milk, and staying away from preservatives that are destroying people. So I just think that President Trump is a visionary for the well-being of the United States of America. He loves the United States of America, and he actually loves a lot of the world, if you will. He's embraced the world. He hasn't just stayed within the United States of America as he's doing with Greenland. He loves the world. He loves the world.
Well, he loves people, and that's the world. I mean,
he loves the Lord. He's a man of faith. He loves, so he's preserving life to the best of his ability. But where there's a problem with people destroying life through drugs, bringing drugs into various communities, and people dying, thousands of people dying because of these drugs. He said, no, we're not having this. This is not going to be.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, and I know I might get some kickback on this, but in a sense, President Trump is a type of Yosef. He's here to preserve life. That's what you hear in his voice, in his heart. He's concerned about the 25,000 soldiers being killed monthly in the Ukraine-Russia deal. And he wants, he was concerned about the hostages in Israel, in Gaza, the Israeli hostages, and he wanted them back alive. He got a lot of them back alive. There was unfortunately too many that were perished by the hands of Hamas. So again, what we're talking about here is really identity in a sense. That's what let's just switch it up a little bit. And for the last 20 minutes or so that we have, we're going to talk about the second book of the Torah. The second book, which is what we all commonly know it as Exodus. but the Hebrew is Shemot. Now, why, and that's chapter 1, verse 1 of Shemot, Exodus. But why would this book be called, and erroneously, really, Exodus? And what's the difference? I mean, we hear it one way, as Exodus, which when we think of Exodus, we think of the Father delivering the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, out of the bondage. He used 10 plagues to get Pharaoh's attention and the people of Egypt's attention, and with the last plague being the death of the firstborn, and that's a big thing. That's something that took place. That it was a great deliverance. They were there for probably, in a sense, about, I mean, from the time of Joseph's death to the time of the Pharaoh that rose up that knew not Joseph. It was probably somewhere around 215 or so years, depending on how you look at it. But a lot of things were taking place, but I think it tells us something that, you look at Exodus, you look at the big things that took place, the 10 plagues, and then they went out into the wilderness, and that happened during Passover, and then they came to 3 months later they came to Mount Sinai and got the 10 words, and then Moses went up on the mountain and got all the download for the pattern for the tabernacle, and that basically takes up the rest of the book of what we call Exodus. But the book is called Shemot, and Shemot means names. I just find it very interesting, and I want to hear your take on it, is that the Father, immediately it says, and these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Mitzrayim with Yaakov, each one with his household. And then it names all 12 of the sons. And so there's identity going on here with the children of Israel. Unfortunately, when we were in the Christian church, in the Pentecostal charismatic church, and we had a church that loved Israel, but we're never taught to identify with the children of Israel. I think you and I were different because there was something there. There was something there. We had a yearning. You being Jewish probably helped, but it was something that there was a yearning, that there was something about the children of Israel. The fourth son was Yehuda. Out of Yehuda came David, Solomon, all the way up to Yeshua, the Messiah. Moses prophesied about it, saying, from your brothers, the Father will raise up a prophet like me, like Moses, and you listen to him. And that was Yeshua. That came at the right time, the perfect time, that he had his ministry for 3.5 years, if you will, and then suffered, died, and was buried, but rose again according to Scripture. Because not soon thereafter, about 40 years later, the temple was destroyed in Jerusalem, and that's where they kept all the records. And this was not just. I mean, this was not just a little bit of walls taken down. And this was and Yeshua prophesied it, that not one stone will be upon the other in this place, and it just totally wiped out the lineage, if you will, to know who the Messiah would be, because after that it would be basically word of mouth, no longer documented like, oh, here's your birth certificate. Oh, you're the son of this, blah, blah, blah. Here's your children and all that. So, the lineage. The lineage was, in a sense, broken. The identity was broken, but yet they still had a yearning for their identity that was taken from them. And we have our identity in Messiah through Yeshua, through the tribe of Yehuda, through the 12 tribes of Israel, through Yaakov, whose name was changed to Israel. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are identity is so important. What is so concerning? I mean, the identity of the children of Israel is so significant. That is so significant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why should that be a curiosity? Why should that be a question? To know the identity of the forefathers of Israel.
Mm.
I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know. I mean, but
that's
the thing,
you and that's me.
No, but I'm saying that
talking about the body of Messiah as a whole.
But it's interesting you're saying that, because the teaching that I gave for the Hidden Voice of Hadassah was regarding being a light unto the nations. And the children of Israel, of Israel, Joseph and all of his brothers, and Yaakov, and all that Yaakov went through, it was showing the whole process of the journey of the children of Israel. It was a journey. It was their lifestyle. And to me, it's like, it should not be a surprise. To me, it should be, this is what we should be gravitating to, is, and I think it is. Honestly, I think there's a lot of people that really do gravitate to Joseph. There's a lot of rabbis that bring forth the identity of the children of Israel from before. Why do they do that? They bring it forth to let people know these are living beings. These are people who the Father has raised up as the foundation of faith, the foundation of truth, the foundation of the revelation of the children of Israel, so that we know that there is a significant purpose to Joseph. There's a significant purpose to Jacob. There's even a significant purpose to the other brothers. And in every aspect of the children of Israel, there was a significant purpose for their life. And so to me, what it does is, I think it whets the appetite for people to learn more about the identity of the children of Israel. I mean, I think it, a lot of people gravitate to the beginning, in the garden, and it goes back to who in the garden?
Adam
and
Eve.
Yeah. And a lot of people like to go back to Adam and Eve. But the truth of the matter is, and that's significant, that whole process of Adam and Eve is very significant. But look at what transpired with Jacob. Look at what transpired with Joseph. Look also about the testings with the other brothers, and how each one of them was tested when they came to get some food. And little did they know that Joseph was right there in front of them. To me, it speaks volumes about how do we treat one another today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider yourself, do I consider myself a child of Israel?
I do.
I do too.
I know you do.
Yeah. And how do we treat one another? That to me is that the whole gist of what takes place in the scriptures is, how are we treating one another? How are we treating the creator of heaven and earth? What is our lifestyle like? It's showing the whole process of lifestyle. I think that the brothers and the relatives, if you will, of the children of Israel, Jacob's children, sets a foundation of. Do you see the various challenges that went forth because of people that did not have faith or were jealous or and that to me to me it's a test. I think the children of Israel, and I'm talking about now the brothers of Jacob's children, that there was a test going on, and it's still going on today when we read it. It still goes on today because it has to do with choices. It has to do with how we treat one another. It has to do with relationship. To me, I think that's the foundation of our life, relationships and how we treat one another.
Yeah.
We talked to somebody today. We called a dear friend, a neighbor, who is going through a lot. She has a husband who is challenged with some physical challenges, and she's been working very hard to help him and to be a blessing and everything. And then she had something happen where she had an issue with her back, and so the bottom line is, when I see this woman and how she has been taking care of her husband, I mean, really bending over backwards to take care of her husband. And I said, I'm going to say something and to her. And I said it, I said, life is a test. And right now you're being tested and your husband's being tested. And I still believe that. I still believe that we're always being tested on how we treat one another. I mean, do we treat one another with kindness, or do we treat one another with anger? Do we treat one another with sarcasm? I mean, the whole thing has to do with how are we treating one another, and how are we serving the Creator of heaven and earth? Do you see it like that?
Well, I may. I just don't know what that really has to do with identity and the intimacy of the Father knowing our name.
Well, it's not so. It's the Father knowing our name has to do with the children of Israel.
Right.
Did the Father know the names of the children of Israel?
Yeah, he just spoke it right in the beginning of Shemot.
Yes, he did.
And that's what the name is. And these are the names of the children of Israel.
Exactly. So to me, it also tells me that if he knows the children of Israel, he knows our names.
Well, it does, because it says in, let me just read a couple, Isaiah 43:1. But now, thus says Yahweh, who created you, O Yaakov, who formed you, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine.
There's it. That's the key. Yeah. You are mine.
Right.
And so that to me tells me that there should be a level of respect. And that was the teaching that I gave on the Hidden Voice of Hadassah, is be a light unto the nations. And and being a light unto the nations, for you to be a light unto me and for me to be a light unto you, would be respect.
Right.
Respecting an individual, and not judging them based on whatever, but saying, I respect this person because the Father gave them life. And I'm going to be an example to this person as a person that respects the life that the Father gave this person. And I know this person, and I want to see this individual develop and have that kind of a relationship between all people. It's I think we're just, I don't know. I just have a sense all the time when it comes to, because I hear it even with discussing the children of Israel, the brothers, and but do we respect one another? Do we have compassion for one another? I mean, do we want to lift people up, or do we want to pull people down? You know, what did Joseph do when he was confronted with his brothers? Did he pull them down, or did he lift them up?
He lifted them up.
He did. He lifted them up, and to the degree that, I mean, he was showing them, I forgive you. I forgive you.
Mm.
And so I just think it's a very serious situation that we're all confronted with on a regular basis. Are we judging one another to the degree that we are either that we're not encouraging them, we're not respecting them, or are we do we have that divine intervention in our heart that says, I want to be an example to other people, and I want to do it in such a way that I want them to know they have a purpose, and I'm talking I'm talking to me, to you, and I just think it should be that way, reciprocal.
No, I agree. I agree. I think it's I mean, it doesn't go without saying, that's for certain. I mean, it has to be said, and we do need to respect one another, and that, I mean, what did Yeshua say, that they will know that you are my disciples by the love you have one for another.
That's it. Yeah, that's the key. That's the key. That's the key.
Mm.
And so when you love one another, you want to encourage and lift them up, and again, it goes right to me. It goes right back to being a light and respect.
Mm.
And when you show respect, when I show respect to you, and you show respect to me, you know what that shows, James? It shows light,
yeah,
and not darkness.
Yeah, you show me a lot of light all the time.
You do too with me.
Just in the final minutes that we have, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Again, with identity, because unfortunately, there is, I mean, here we have people who are believers in the Creator of heaven and earth, and there are believers that believe in the Creator of heaven and earth, and also a Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus, but yet they look at that as two different things. Is it two different things, or is it something that needs to be tied together, like the two sticks in Ezekiel, the one for Yehuda, the one for Ephraim, the house of Yehuda, the house of Israel or Ephraim, and Ezekiel said, the Father said through Ezekiel, that take those sticks, put them in your hand, and I will make them one in your hand. I'll make them echad in your hand. So the identity, and people get very, I don't know, bent out of shape a little bit with, if you don't know Messiah, forget about it. Well, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to win people to Messiah, or we're just trying to throw people out saying, they'll never do this, they'll never do that, and you have two factions, as we used to call it, the us and them, right? Us and them, the church and the Jews, the whatever. Or is it supposed to be because we're not so different? I mean, there might be different practices. I mean, you have Judaism on the one side, you have thousands of denominations on the other side of Christianity. I was reading something that was so horrible. I just hate when messianics call people like us heretics, or people, other people heretics, because they don't believe the way they believe. We never thought that. I mean, we knew there were people that totally different, didn't think the way we did, but we never stopped saying that's our brother and that's our sister, but yet there are some that will call it heretics or close to heretics or something like that. It's like, really, but they're saying that Gentile believers, that's a misnomer anyway, is saying that some do the feast, some Messianic Jews do the feast, and they can do that, and they can eat kosher if they want. But some, if they go out and they have a pork sandwich or do Christmas and Easter, not a big deal. I don't get that.
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, to me, this is what I see with this. Okay, as far as our responsibility, if we are children of the Creator of heaven and earth, if we're here to serve Him, if we are here to be redeemed,
yes,
right? If we're here to be redeemed, James, if we're here to be changed, which we are, repentance has to be a part of our lifestyle, and therefore, what do we have to be to our neighbors and to one another? We have to be lights, and we have to show a situation. We have to show a situation where we are loving our neighbor as ourselves, and we're an example. If someone hasn't totally surrendered all of their life to the Creator of heaven and earth, but they're taking steps towards that,
right, we
are to encourage that, and we are to be an example.
Exactly.
The key is this: we have to be an example. People are going to do what people do. So if we're going to be people that are doing what's right in the eyes of the Father, we need to be an example of that.
Amen.
Period.
Amen.
I mean, we need to be an example.
I hate to cut it short, but we are just about out of time. We got about maybe 30 seconds left.
Okay. Well, but the key is we have to be an example. I mean, if we're going to woo people to the Creator of heaven and earth, and woo people to doing what's right in the eyes of the Father, and I have to be an example. And no one can do it for me. I have to do it. You have to be an example.
Exactly.
We have to be an example of loving our neighbor as ourselves. And if they're not there yet, we just have to do it.
Amen. So thank you so much, everyone. That was good. Thank you, Father. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you soon. We're going to go. All right. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
If you missed today's show, or want to watch it again, or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv, where you will find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network.
To possess the land. Toda Rahaba, my heart is thankful to you.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lambnetwork.tv website. I'm James O'Hare, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
Toda Rahaba,